Good afternoon, everyone. I am Kurt Denver Pigalo, the first reporter of the Chapter 7 Culture. As a student and as a Filipino citizen, why do we have to study culture? So, by studying culture, it helps people find meaning to their communities and the world around them. By bringing everyone together and making them feel like where they belong. So, as we understand culture better, we can see how it shapes our lives and why communication and connections matter. This part of our discussion digs into what culture is all about, its essence, and what makes it unique, and the different parts that make it up. It also looks at the opportunities we face today when it comes to embracing cultural diversity. It also dives into how different groups working together can help keep culture alive and thriving. But what is culture? Culture is like the shared way of life of a group. It includes things like how they talk, what they believe, how they act, and what they think is important. This includes the languages, beliefs, rules for behavior, values, traditions, and even the things they make and use. These things are passed down from parents to children and influence how people in that group see the world and interact with each other. Now, we have several definitions of culture from different educational professors and researchers. According to Schaffer 2013, culture is a totality of learned, socially transmitted customs, knowledge, materials, objects, and behavior. It also includes the ideas, values, and artifacts, for example, for DVD comics, books, and birth control, such as IED of group of people. According to Birkenhoff in 2008, he defined culture as a total life shared by members of community. It not only includes languages, values, and symbolic meanings, but also technology and material objects. And according to Lustig in 2013, culture is learned set of shared interpretations about beliefs, values, norms, and social practices which affect the behaviors of a relative large group of people. However, according to Shunli, as cited by Martin in 2010, she identified the different common uses of term culture and then describes how each definition serves a particular interest. First is culture unique human efforts. So culture encompasses the unique human efforts that distinguish societies, communities, or groups from one another. It includes shared beliefs, values, customs, traditions, and arts, and other aspects of human social behavior. Culture shapes how people perceive the world, interact with one another, and express themselves. It Culture is also a dynamic and ever-evolving phenomenon, influenced by history, environment, technology, and various social factors. In the context of Philippine culture, one example that illustrates this definition is by the concept of bayanihan. So we all know what is bayanihan. Bayanihan is a Filipino custom that embodies the spirit of communal unity and cooperation. Traditionally, when a family needs to relocate their house, the entire community comes together to help. They literally carry the entire house, usually made of bamboo and ipa palm, to another location. This tradition highlights the importance of collective efforts, solidarity, and mutual support within the Philippine society. It also showcases how cultural practices reflect the values and cooperation and community harmony. Second is culture refinement mannerism. So culture also refers to refinement and mannerism, encompassing behaviors, customs, and expressions that are considered sophisticated, polite, and cultivated. This aspect of culture involves norms of etiquette, social graces, and codes of conduct that contribute to harmonious social interactions and convey respect for others. So the concept of po and opo exemplifies this notion of refinement and respect. Po and opo are honorifics used to show deference and politeness, especially when speaking to elders or people in authority. These terms are added to sentence or phrases as a sign of respect, reflecting the cultural value placed in courteous and differential communications. For instance, when addressing an elder or someone in position of authority, a Filipino might say, "Salamat po," or "Thank you, sir," or "Thank you, ma'am," or "Oo po," "Yes, sir," or "ma'am," to convey respect and politeness. By using these honorifics, individuals demonstrate their adherence to cultural norms of refinement and respectfulness in interpersonal interactions. Third is culture civilization. Culture encompasses the concept of civilization, which denotes the advanced development of societies in terms of social organizations, technology, arts, governance, and other aspects of human progress. Civilized cultures are characterized by their sophistication, complexity, and adherence to norms and values that promote order, progress, and the well being of their members. In the Philippine culture, the ancient civilization of the pre colonial societies, such as the kingdoms of Tondo Manila and the Sultanate of Sulu, exemplifies this notion of civilization. These societies have developed systems of governance, trade, and culture. They also engage in sophisticated forms of craftsmanship, such as goldsmithing, pattern making, and textile weaving. Additionally, they had complex social structures with defined roles for rulers, nobles, commoners, and slaves. Furthermore, this civilization had rich cultural traditions, including literature, music, dance, and religious practices. For example, the epic poems of Biag ni Lamang and the Hudhuds are the literary masterpieces that originated from the pre-colonial Philippine societies, showcasing the advanced level of cultural and artistic achievement. Ah, by by the contrast, the term barbaric is often used to describe the societies perceived as uncivilized or lacking in refinement and sophistication. However, it is essential to recognize that cultures deemed barbaric by some may have their own rich traditions, values, and customs which might simply differ from those of more mainstream of dominant civilizations. Fourth is culture shared languages, belief, and values. These encompasses that unite individuals within a society, especially in Philippine culture. Tagalog serves as a common language, while values like kapwa emphasize empathy and solidarity. However, the dissenting voices may diverge from mainstream belief, reflecting cultural diversity. For instance, um, indigenous communities maintain a unique languages and traditions, enriching the cultural landscape. For example, the people in another province talk to another people from different province. They having a casual conversations, but for the other person, it's like the other person is um, grating or raising his voices, but for him it's just natural. It's 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 just natural. That's one good example of these four characteristics. Fifth is that in the Philippine culture, the dominant or homogenic culture is largely influenced by the mainstream of Filipino society, which is predominantly Tagalog-centric due to historical and political factors. This mainstream culture encompasses widely practiced custom, traditions, and values that reflect the collective identity of the Filipino people. On the other hand, the marginal cultures in the Philippines refer to the diverse ethnic, linguistic, and cultural groups that exist alongside the dominant culture. These marginalized groups may include indigenous people, ethnic minorities, and immigrant communities, each with their own distinct languages, traditions, and belief system. For example, the indigenous tribes such as the Igorot, Lumad, and the Mangyan have unique cultural practices, languages, and even worldview that differ from those of the mainstream Filipino society. Despite the efforts to assimilate them into the dominant culture, these marginalized groups continue to resist and preserve their identities, contributing to the cultural diversity of the Philippines. Last is that culture involves the dynamic interplay between shared and unshared elements within a society. This tension arises from the negotiation between the collective beliefs, values, and practices and individual or subgroup differences. For instance, in the Philippine culture, there may be shared values such as respect for elders, but for individual interpretations or expression of this value can vary. While most may agree on the importance of respect, the specific way it's shown can differ based on a personal belief or experiences. This tension between the shared value of respect and individual interpretation can lead to diverse expression of behavior within the culture. This also reflects the complex and evolving nature of culture, where commonalities and differences coexist and interact.